Yo, what up, what up, what up, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? We starting this right now, bright and early. Let me go ahead and invite the co-host, Miss Hottie. Hold on one second, y'all. We're about to start this interview with Big Pun's sister, you dig? So let me give me one second to add everybody in here.
Hey,
What
what's
up, Miss
going
Hottie?
on? Hi guys, how are you all?
What's going on, sis?
Hey Miss Lackey, what's going on, sis?
Oh shit.
Can you guys see me, hear me?
Yeah, make sure everybody see you and hear you. I'm about to add Nicky right now, y'all. So give me a second. Use my background. All right, I'm back. Hold on. Let me invite Nikki in here. Did y'all hear me at all, or did I go away real quick?
Um, I can hear you loud and clear.
No, like a little while ago, like a minute ago. Did y'all hear me?
Yeah, it was the little circle was going in and out.
Yeah.
Make sure lighting is good.
I had got a call from Nikki on DM, but I'm trying to add her from here, and I'm not. Her name's not coming up when I type it in. Are you able to add her from your end?
No, wait, I might. Hold on. No, I can't because you started it. This is your live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Give me 1 second, because this is weird.
All right, let me go grab me some water just so I can be all set at my desk and we can, I could be straight.
Okay. Yeah, it's not letting me add her on here. I think she got to follow me. Yeah, I think she got to. It's not letting me add her for some reason. All right, let me see if I can add her now.
All right, did you get it right?
I'm typing her name in, but okay, here you go. Yeah, I got it. I got it. I got it. All right. So I want everybody to give a warm welcome to none other Sister.
Hi.
How you doing, Sister Pun? This is my co.
Hey, Sister Pun.
Hello. Hello to you both. Thanks for
Nice
having
to
me.
meet you.
It's a pleasure. It's a real pleasure having you here, Queen. Uh,
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Happy Easter.
Happy
Happy
Easter, by the way.
Easter, Buddy Day.
That's right, right?
For those of you who don't know who Big Pun is, he's an American rapper by the name of Christopher Lee Rios, better known as his stage name Big Pun. Um, Big Pun was an American rapper and songwriter. Pun's lyrics are notable for their technical efficiency, having exceptional breath, which a lot of skinny motherfucking rappers can't do.
Right.
You know, so he had exceptional breath control. He had heavy use of alliteration as well as internal and multi-syllabic rhyming schemes. He is frequently cited as one of the best MCs of all time, guys. So this is big. Big Pun was the first Puerto Rican solo artist to go platinum. And you know what I'm saying? So this is huge. This is a huge deal. I grew up listening to Big Pun. He's a big part of my childhood. And just the whole story and his whole legacy, the way it's just unfolded and, you know, it went down is I think it's left a lot of his fans, you know, with questions and no, you know, unanswered questions and concerns like what really happened with everything when it comes to his estate, his publishing, his health, his death. You know what I'm saying? What was the aftermath? So we're gonna get into really, really interesting details on Pun's life today. And I'm glad you're here because it's been over 2 decades. It's been 21 years, you know.
It
And
doesn't even feel that long.
yeah, it's like the time goes by, but every time we come around to his death anniversary, or, you know, February 7th, I don't really see nobody doing anything. Like, you know, none of the people that are in power right now to like really, really promote and support. I don't really see any of that going on. Even for his birthdays, I don't really see no big celebrations or any of that going on. So that is really sad, and it's to me it's like it's disrespectful to his legacy. So I'm glad to have you here, and
Thank you.
You are like a really close source of his. You're his sister. You grew up with him. You know the before, you know, he got famous, the after he got famous Pun. You know, Big Pun, you know, Christopher Rios as a person. So we're gonna go ahead and talk to you today. I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody watching.
Sure, everybody. My name's Nicole, Nicky. People call me Sister Pun. So I'm here today to answer any questions. Feel free to ask me anything. I'm an open book. And I look forward to bringing you into our world.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I wanted to go ahead and start off. I seen that, you know, you've been fighting for a really long time to have a street naming for Big Pun. And that kept getting shunned and swept under the rug. People in the neighborhood where he lived were complaining. They wanted to keep the old street names up. And you tried to convince them for many years, and it didn't work out. And then suddenly, Liza, Big Pun's wife, baby, the mother of his kids, she actually gets to, you know, put the street signing up on Fordham Road in the Grand Concourse in the Bronx. She actually, you know, got to work it out where they put it there in that location.
Well, it actually wasn't her. It was actually someone named Toby and John Jackson. They were the ones that made this happen.
Okay. That's interesting. And it saddens me because I'm from the Bronx, you know what I'm saying? And that's close to home. Like now, I honestly speaking for me on my behalf, I wasn't even aware of this street naming thing, and that hurts me because I would have definitely been there. And I feel like a lot of the fans feel the same way. A lot of the fans feel like there wasn't enough promotion, there wasn't enough recognition to the street naming. Like, you know what I'm saying? People didn't really put it out there. Chris Jr. put it out there back in December, but what I mean was it wasn't televised on mainstream media. So it was really hard, you know what I'm saying, for fans and people that really supported Pun to come out there and show their love and support and give their respects. I feel like that has hurt a lot of the fans that grew up listening to Pun. Why do you think that happened? Let's start off there. I know you were voicing the fact that you were a little disappointed with people like Jennifer Lopez and Remy Ma. These were people that Pun impacted their careers.
While I can, you know, agree with you that it was not promoted to the public, you know, for the fans in advance, you know, enough notice to plan things and things like that. It definitely was in advance when it came to within the family, the immediate family, and within the music industry. So they were aware. So definitely, that should have been done. I totally agree for the fans. Yeah, it was a total disappointment. I really expected Remy to be there because, she is where she is because of my brother,
Right.
Right.
Not saying she would have never made it. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying where she is now, the path that she took was because of my brother. And I think that it would have been only appropriate that she shows up, even if it for a second, for example, when she was locked up, if my brother was alive, I guarantee you my brother would have been still in contact with her. I guarantee you, because that's just his character. You know what I mean? So that's what bothers me. And J-Lo, my brother used to always say, I love her like a sister, and it's terrible that his love was so deep and it wasn't returned back genuinely. It was said, it was presented, it was tatted on, but it's not genuinely shown. And that's what hurts so much. And I know my brother and I were very much alike. We're very loving. He handled love in a different way compared to why I handle love, but he definitely wanted to feel loved, so he made sure to take care of his people, and it just wasn't happening back. And it hurts because I know how he thinks, and I know that he's watching down and he's hurting.
Oh yeah, I could imagine. I could imagine he's hurting. I
Yeah.
mean, this is something that, no, I don't think any celebrity or rapper or anybody in that caliber wants to end like this. You know what I'm saying? The whole legacy. He's one of the legends. He's one of the greatest. He's a lyrical beast, and a lot of people today, I can agree. Pun had his own lane. He wasn't in no one's lane or in competition. It was like he paved the way through his own lane, and it was exceptional talent that he had.
Totally agree.
Co-host, would you like to ask her something before we move into the next
No,
session?
go ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
We can move.
Don't be scared. They ask me anything.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I want to say it. He knows where I want to.
The reason I say ask me anything is because I feel that the fans in all these years, these 20 years, haven't really got it all right. There's always three sides to a story: yours, mine, and the truth. You know what I mean? And it seems like one side has really been told, and I think it's only fair that you guys know more, even know it all. So that's where I'm here. I'm ready to share everything.
Absolutely.
Okay. How is your relationship now with his wife, his children? Are you guys involved, or are you guys?
Hold on, I'm sorry. Before you get into that, because that's
Okay.
best questions.
Okay.
Why do you think Remy and J-Lo? Because I mean, I know there's COVID going on, so I could give them that that much benefit of the doubt. Maybe the COVID or whatever the case may be. But why do you think they really didn't come by and show their support and their love? Because that's been, I haven't just seen it from Remy and J-Lo. I've seen it from Fat Joe, and it's just like, what's going on at this point?
Yeah, it wouldn't be fair for me to assume, but I know the fans are sharing their opinions, and their opinions are like, why go back to the Bronx? I already made it to the top. So pretty much, I just want to say, for those of you who are at the top, you don't forget where you came from, because we don't forget you. You know what I mean? Because in reality, it could all end overnight. It could all end overnight, and that person that you turning your back to will be in your position. You know what I mean? So it's not right.
Have they reached out even just over the years, not just for the street signing, for the street naming? Have they reached out at any point in time since his passing?
No, not at all. Well, Remy, I can understand because she was locked up, most of the time. And but no. Everyone. The funny thing is that everyone promises to, for example, at the funeral, certain individuals are like, I'm gonna check on you. My mother has congestive heart failure, and she's doing very, very bad. She hasn't even seen her grandkids in 20 years. That's terrible. She about to, I don't know how long Mama's gonna be here. But that's just how it is. They say one thing, but people have a circle. People involved in like real tight groups, and once they get locked up, what happens? They forget about you. You know what I mean? So
How was
it's sad. It's sad.
how was Punch's relationship with Remy and J-Lo before he passed?
Like I said before, my brother was he loved them like sisters.
Right.
He loved them like sisters.
So there was no beef, nothing that would have, prevented
No,
from coming,
no,
or
not at all.
okay.
None at all.
Okay, well, hopefully J-Lo or Remy watches someday and they actually have some kind of answer or some kind of explanation for them not showing up. But it would have been great to see, a lot of people support, especially celebrities. They have the money for security and all that other good stuff. So, I feel there's really, that shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, moving on, you also going to what I'm gonna let the co-host, Miss Hadi, ask you. You mentioned I wanted to ask you because you mentioned that you haven't been in touch with your sister-in-law, your nieces and nephews for about 20 years. You've seen your nephew about 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of the fans would, put you out or paint you out to be, a neglectful auntie or something like that. So what do you have to say? I'll let you ask the question, Ms. Hadi, because I like the route you was going with it.
Definitely.
And I just go ahead.
Right. Yeah. I just want to touch base on what your relationship is now. Is it good? Is it bad and different?
Well, the relationship now, as of the day we were at the street sign, it's not we do not have a friendship, but it was like cordial. It was like, thank you for inviting me. I respect that for you telling me to come. But it's it's not nothing where come on, we're gonna hang out next. It was nothing like that, because
was there ever a point in time just throughout your whole life of knowing each other? Were you cool? Were you guys sisters, or has it just always been boundaries?
No. Actually, that's crazy because when my brother was with her, and before I had left off to college when I was 18, I had lived with them. Between the age of 13 and a half and until I was 18. And Liza and I were very close. We used to share each other's clothes, even being the sister of her husband, I even sometimes would be like, Liza, like tough it up or something, you know what I mean? Like we were younger then. Like she was younger than my brother and she was younger at the time. So, we acted like sisters. At least I thought, we love each other like sisters. I mean, even to the point that, nobody even knows this. Back in 1998, even though Pun was my brother, she confided in me. She called me when I was living in Daytona Beach, and she was crying. And I'm like, Liza, what's wrong? What's wrong? And my brother is behind her saying, tell her, tell her. And she said, Nicky, I had an affair on Chris. And I'm like, wow, I'm sorry. It wasn't my brother behind her. I hear someone saying in the background, tell her, like it's like you need someone to talk to, tell her.
Wow.
So she told me, and I said, oh my God, Liza, like what do you mean? Like, are you serious? Like, are you sure? Like, are you joking? And she was crying, and I was like, who? She like this guy in my mom's block in Bronx River. And the point of it ended up coming out to my brother, not for me. And that's the bad thing. That's my brother. I never told him.
Yeah.
I never told him. He found out on his own later on, but I let him find out on his own. So maybe deep down inside, my brother was upset with me that I didn't tell him. But I did it because I'm like, oh my God, I don't want him to kill her or something. I don't want him to what have not. But to prove he's not as violent as you think he is, that didn't happen. He did not kill her. The guy got a beat down. You know what I mean? So
was aware of the infidelity.
Yeah, he was aware of the infidelity. That was the first one. The son of the grocery store owner down the street in Bronx River from her mother's house. It's like a grocery store down the street. It was him.
Now, was this before? Was he just Chris Rios, or was he Big Pun at that time?
No, he was Big Pun. He was Big Pun. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So this was about 98, as I mentioned. So that was that. And then later on, before my brother's passing, maybe about a year and a half. Well, let me backtrack this. My brother has a brother from his father's side, named Vincent. And my brother just did not have good feeling about him. Vincent would always come around, and my brother would be like, I don't want that nigga here. You know, I'm not vibing him, not feeling him. And we're like, what's wrong, Chris? You know, why you think that? He's like, I just don't trust him, just trust him. Well, it turns out, trust your gut. It turns out that Liza was having an affair with my brother's brother, Vincent, for about a year and a half before my brother's death.
Wow.
And to me, I say to myself, okay, if I'm in a situation, let's say my husband hits me, that you claim that he hits me regularly, the last thing I'm gonna do is cheat in my same house that my husband has cameras and take the risk of him catching me.
Right.
That would be the last thing, but that happened. You know, she did that, you know, in the house. I mean, my niece Amanda, she was even aware. She liked him, you know. So you know that was really messed up. So my brother found out about that, and he knew about it, and that's part of the reason why yesterday I did another interview and I had revealed that the reason me and Liza don't talk is because I felt that she had something to do with my brother's death.
Wow.
Whether it was negligence, where she saw him suffering and didn't give him help, you know, possibly gave something to cause the heart attack, because I am in the medical field and there are things you can do. And I've offered, you know, lie detector testing that I can pay for just to clear this up. I mean, it's 20 years. I mean, if someone's accusing me of something.
I'm sorry. I wanted to cut you off real quick.
Yeah.
I wanted to, before you get into that part of the show, I wanted to go back to the infidelity, because you know there's a video floating around the internet that's gone viral where we all see Big Pun pistol whip Liza.
Yeah, that one video, that one incident.
Right. So a lot of people are painting Pun to be, you know, this domestic violence predator or abuser. So now that you say this is an exclusive part of Pun's story that no one ever knew. You know what I mean? Like the fans never knew this side of what was going on, and I understand, because a lot of celebrities, they're embarrassed and they're ashamed, and they have a lot of dignity and pride, and they don't want to say certain things that happen behind the scenes. But you know, now that we're learning of this, it kind of puts things into perspective, because it's like, okay, we were seeing Pun, you know, he hit her that one time on video, and she claimed that it was an abusive relationship for 12 years. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't going on for 12 years. Who knows? Maybe it was a mutual abuse or mutual violence. We don't know, because we weren't there.
That's another thing. Yeah.
One can only think. As a person in Pun's shoes, you know, he's from the hood. He was raised, he was abused as a child, which I'm sure caused a lot of anger and trauma in his life, and that was part of his demise. You know, he was abused. I believe it was your father, Tommy. You said you didn't really see him get abused, but he was pretty militant with him.
Yeah, my father was very militant. He wasn't physically abusive, but he was very militant and very, I would say, emotional, because he was always comparing him to me, for example, because I was considered the brains. So that, you know, that bothered him.
Okay. And so maybe, well, Liza claims that he was abused by his stepfather. And maybe I'm saying if that was the case and that was to be true, I'm sure that could have brought a lot of his adulthood trauma, and, you know, maybe the anger management that he needed or whatever the case was. And then just finding out that his wife was, you know, cheating on him with his brother. That's huge. I mean, you know, anyone would probably lose their mind, especially somebody in his shoes. I'm not justifying it, because violence is not the answer.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, you know, somebody like Pun that already had these childhood issues, to learn of his wife being unfaithful with his brother, his own sibling, that's something really shocking, and it's a hard pill to swallow. You know what I'm saying? So who knows if that was, you know, part of that was the reason why she got pistol whipped. I'm just saying.
And it hasn't been fair for all this time, because, for example, the interviews that she does are people within her circle who plan, you know, the interviews and ask the questions that cater to her. So they're not asking her, have you ever had an infidelity? Have you ever cheated? Have you ever hit him too? No, they don't ask that. They're asking things that are catering to her. Just like sometimes you guys ask, you know, is there anything you want me to ask, not ask? Well, that's what happens. So she is able to avoid those things. And people, because they were afraid, they were either afraid because, you know, that she might bully them or what have not, they didn't speak up, you know, and I was much younger then. So I'm in a position where I have no problem speaking up. And I know so much. And I think that I should not die with everything that I know.
Right.
I need, people need to know, because at the end of the day, I keep saying it over and over again. My loyalty is to my brother. You know what I mean? And it's not fair. You know, no one's perfect. Definitely no man should hit a woman, and no woman should hit a man either.
Right.
Okay, so let's make that straight. So, you know, relationships where you guys go at it to each other off and on, and you might throw some at him or what have not. Both of y'all are wrong at the end of the day. So it's not appropriate for neither person. But definitely, yeah, that was another reason why all the things I was getting my suspicions about, that she had did something to him. That was another thing that added on to build up my suspicion. I was like, you know, did Vincent have something to do with this with her? Because he's been off the face of the earth since then. Since then, I mean, completely face of the earth. Like, where are you? Like, hiding. And then also what added to the suspicion is something that I learned from my cousin Booby. I hope that he's watching, because if he is, if it's possible, you could put your phone number up there so he can call in and give the story from his point of view. But my cousin Booby, shout out to him. He was my brother's right-hand man, Alan Conyers. So, you know, if you guys were around, you know exactly who he is. And that was that's my brother to this day. And he replaced my brother. It still feels that. But two things. My sister-in-law, 2 weeks before my brother passed away, she told my cousin Booby, Alan Conyers, that I guarantee you, Pun's not going to be here in 2 weeks.
Wow.
How could you guarantee, the word's guarantee, how could you guarantee that your husband's not going to be here? Is there something that you know that we don't know? Right.
Wow.
Okay. Now, and during this time, her cousin Scorpio, which another one that fell off the face of the earth, it's just like a hiding, don't know where he is, was in the middle of looking in the computer, and he was telling my cousin Booby ways that you could kill someone where it doesn't show.
Wow.
So now 2 weeks before my brother's death, her cousin Scorpio, who is like her brother, she loves him to death, was researching how to kill someone and it not show. You're saying you guarantee he's not going to be here within 2 weeks. You're in a relationship with his brother that's been going on for already a year and a half. Things don't look too good. And you definitely are not telling people this, because I watched every interview that she's made and she's never mentioned any of these things. And when my brother passed away, who's with him when he passed away? She's with him.
Was this ever investigated? Was there a proper autopsy that proved it was his heart?
Yeah. I'm so happy you asked that. I have his autopsy, and I actually got it 2 different occasions, maybe 8 years apart, just to see if there was a change or a difference, and there wasn't. Okay, I have them both. Now, if any of you guys are watching, and even you two that are interviewing me, you can go right now on the internet and say, how long does it take to do a full, complete autopsy? You're going to see weeks to months that it can take.
Right.
A partial, you know, an immediate one, you know, a quick rush one can be done within 24 hours. Okay. My brother always said, if I ever die, I want to be buried with my father. And then later on, all of us are buried with him as well. Right. Why cremate him? Why rush to cremate him? Okay. So that just, it just hasn't been sitting right with me for 20 years. And it eats me up, because I look back now 20 years when I was younger and I said, wow, I wish I had the heart that I have now, the guts that I have now, because I would have said, wait a minute, don't do that autopsy. I need an investigation. So what happens is now evidence is burned, right? But the wonderful thing is, because I study forensics, technology has changed, honey. So that's the great thing. It's different now. But that's how it was, you know. It's like the evidence is burned, you know. If she did this again, I've been asking for a lie detector test, and I'm asking now just to clear everything from my expense. I'll pay for it, and you could take a lie detector test, and I'll pay for all of it, clarifying the cause of my brother's death, any involvement in my brother's death. the affairs in your own home. I will pay for, and that would be expensive, honey, but I'll pay for each and every one of them to confirm everything.
Wow.
Have you
Okay.
ever had a discussion with Liza about any of this? Like just you
Yeah.
one-on-one?
Yeah, within the 20 years, yes, I suggested the lie detector test, but I don't get a response or reply, and I don't get a no either, but I don't get a okay, let me think about it either. It's just like ignore it. I'm not gonna reply. Just a few days ago, for example, I had reached out to her and asked her, could I have some of his ashes? Because I've never seen my brother's ashes, and my mother, she's gonna go. She's not gonna be here very much longer. You know, according to her doctor, she's not doing well. She hasn't even seen her son's ashes in 20 years. Not only hasn't she seen her grandkids, she hasn't seen her son's urn. So I asked her a few days ago, Liza, can you give me, a little bit so I could make a little urn for me and my mom or whatever? But what it is, she just don't respond. So she'll respond to what she wants to respond to, but if she doesn't want to respond, she just don't respond. So, I was hoping that could be something that could be left,
that shouldn't even have been a request,
Yeah.
Like, the wife myself,
Yeah.
I would have a problem. That's just the love in me. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't even have to been 20 years. It would have been as soon as I had access to them,
Yeah, exactly. So, that's just how it is. So now, thank God, because I prayed about it a lot and I asked my brother to guide me a lot. Now doors are open. Now doors are opening for me to tell his side, to tell what was, not even sides, to just tell the truth of what was going on during that time.
Right.
Because people need to know. People said, his kids need to know, because his kids only know her side.
Right. I've seen past interviews where her son, he's the junior, has stated that he's witnessed his father abusing mom. Is he the eldest of her children?
That's another thing. I would love for you guys. This is like a research assignment, okay?
Right.
That's
what we do.
What you just said. I want you all, if you can, go to all my nephew's videos, and you're gonna catch a video where he says that he don't remember his father. He don't remember anything. And you're gonna find another video where he says he remembers witnessing. So which one is it? So it's the video of him from his mouth. With one interview, he's saying that he don't remember his father. He was too young. And then another one, he's saying that he remember. So come on, which one is it? I personally believe
6 years old when he died.
Yeah, he was about 5 or 6. He was little. Amanda, he was about 5, 6, and Amanda and Vanessa were like 7, 9, 8, 9, around there. They were little. They were little. If anything, Amanda was the older one.
Yeah.
But baby Prince, he admitted he don't remember anything. He doesn't remember anything.
Liza, correct?
Huh?
Big Pun has 3 kids with Liza, correct?
Correct.
And those are his only children in life
that we know of. I mean, that I know of. I never heard anything else. Yeah, right. I don't know. So at the end of the day, it just things just don't make sense. And I'm telling you, if she was to do this for me and do the lie detector test, and it came back, she said a truth for everything, I'll go on my knees in public in front of the screens and apologize. I don't feel that's gonna happen though. I don't feel that's gonna be the outcome. There's a reason why she doesn't want to do the lie detector test. There's a reason why. Because if someone's accusing me of something and I could have peace by finally just getting it done, like, okay, let me just do the test so they can shut up and leave me alone.
Right.
I'll do it because I have nothing to hide. But you don't want to. It's 20 years later and you don't want to. Even, for example, I have mentioned before, my other video, she said she put a gun to my brother's head while he was sleeping. That's the only part that I didn't put in my other interview. It was while he was sleeping. So while my brother's sleeping, you put a gun to my brother's head, and then you say, "No, forget it. I don't want to shoot him because my kids will be without a father." But you come again another day and do it again.
Wow. And
you come again another day and you do it again because you say you did it 3 times. It shows you're capable. It shows you're capable.
It's a premeditated thought.
Yeah, you admit that you set up. And I'll pay for lie detector tests.
Reasons why, I mean, we all know, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we did see the infamous video of Pun hitting her with the MAC-10. Yeah. She's always stated that he's had hit her at one point or another. is her pulling out these guns on him, allegedly, is these reactions to maybe a beatdown that may have happened earlier that night, or, you know what I mean? Like, because, you know, most of us women, we ain't just waking up wanting to do something like that to our men, unless there was something like dramatic that had happened. Now, is she doing this because of this? Has she's given you reasons why? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to understand her motive. Like, what was the reason why you were all doing this?
Her reason why was that that was her opportunity to get rid of him. He was sleeping. She said she was too scared to do it when he's awake, but she did it when he was sleeping, but she couldn't do it. You know, that she couldn't do it. I'm so glad she did it. But that just told me, you know, you're capable. And I'm saying to myself, are you even thinking when you're talking? Because you're saying all this, you know, and this is just adding to the suspicion. I mean, you keep saying things. I don't know if you think before you talk, but you keep saying things that just keeps adding to the suspicion. It's hard for me to move on or get over it, because every time I kind of want to leave it alone, you say something else that's like,
Is she saying this to you or through third party?
To me. And again, that what I just mentioned, I will pay for a lie detector test for her to take to be asked that question too, for that one. This is costly because it's a million questions, but I'll pay for them all.
Right.
To clarify.
That's a good.
Yes. And I also have proof.
Well, listen, when I heard you making these claims, man, the first thing I thought was, wow, these are some really huge claims. Like, you're basically accusing your sister-in-law or the mother of your, you know, nieces and nephews of murder. Or you're saying that you feel that could have been the case. You're not saying that.
Yeah, I'm not saying exactly. I'm not saying she is, because I wouldn't be fair. I can't say she's a murderer because I don't have any proof of that.
Right.
But what I can tell you is that I've confronted her 20 years ago and other instances between where I'm telling her that I'm telling her this. I know that you killed my brother. You know, and this is why, because you told me this and you told me that, and you was doing this then. You were having an affair. Things just don't it just don't make no sense. You know what I mean? And you don't want to do a lie detector test. You know, what's really going on? Where is your cousin? Why is he fell off the face of the earth? You know, where is my brother's brother, Vincent? Where is he? Why everybody's hiding?
Exactly.
Why is everybody hiding? You know, and then my brother dies, you alone. It's just you and him together by yourself, you know.
Well, when you made this huge claim, it made me revisit the documentary, because I've seen the documentary many years ago, and, you know, a lot of things were blurred, but I know when I watched it for the first time, initially, I felt, you know, something's not sitting right with me about Big Pun's death. And I'm like, I can't really pinpoint it at the moment, but something's not sitting right. And then, you know, at that time, the internet was just pretty much starting up. We didn't really have the internet the way we do now. It was harder to get news across to the world and communicate with each other and, you know, put things together. But now it's like, okay, we got the internet. We could do investigations. We can do, you know, our own research. And I had to revisit that documentary, and certain things that I just saw Liza claim and speak on, like she was claiming that, you know, at one point she was helping Big Pun bathe, and she was helping him dress, and she was helping him do the everyday things that, you know, we're supposed to be doing that he couldn't do on his own because he had massively gained weight and he was overweight. So,
and that's the other thing. She was tired. She was tired of doing all of this. She was tired of it.
Like a weight she was carrying. You know what I'm saying? Like it seemed like she felt like, okay, I got a load on my back. Because she said it on the documentary. It was like if I was his caretaker. I was, you know what I'm saying? Like she was one of his home health aides, pretty much. And so my thing is, when I hear her talk about bathing him and, you know, cleaning him up and stuff like that, you're dealing with fecal matter, urine, stuff like that. And then I hear her say in the same documentary, the day he was choking on his, first of all, you asked her, she calls you up. You already had left to Florida, I believe. And she's like, you know, Pun is not really breathing well. But the day before that, you was over at Pun's house with her, weren't you?
No, my brother was my brother was in a hotel. My brother was in a hotel with Liza, yeah. Okay. Because their house in the BX was getting, you know, renovated. So yeah, they were at a hotel.
So now she's saying that she didn't give him CPR because he was foaming out the mouth. My thing is, if you were cleaning him up, You was bathing him. You was doing everything else that probably a weak stomach person couldn't do. Why couldn't you give him CPR while he was foaming out the mouth?
He's your husband. He's your
Right.
husband. Like you just said, you did all the things you just said you did. You wiped his ass, you this and that. Of course, this is what you're saying. But
Right.
when he's so-called dying in front of you, you couldn't do CPR because, ooh, he had foam in his mouth. But that's my husband. He can have shit in his mouth, and I'm still gonna save my husband. And let me
That's
tell you something too. I'm not married. But if I'm in a position where I am married, even me being with someone for a very long time, that's like being married, right? If
right.
that were to happen, you're not gonna know. You guys not gonna know my business. It's none of your business that I clean my husband's ass
Right.
or whatever, because that's my husband.
I feel
He's
like that
mine,
was even
and I'm taking care of him. It's none of you guys' business
right.
when
I
he's
feel like
alive or when he's dead.
when she
You
put
know
it
what I
out
mean?
there.
So I think that's very tacky and very distasteful.
Yeah, we need to know that about Pun. We didn't need to know that she was doing that for him. But
yeah, you don't have to.
you know,
But come on, that's why I feel, and I'm saying it again, and it was like an immediate thing that hit me. I said, oh no, he didn't have to have a natural heart attack. No, he did not. It's something where, like I mentioned, the Heimlich maneuver. If someone's choking, you know what to do to save them, but you just don't do it because I pray that it just keep choking, keep not breathing. When you could have intervened and done something to help him, at least
well,
prolong him long enough for the professionals to come.
she
And then
took
on
so long.
top of hold on, and then on top of that, this is from the same camp that was in the next room. They're knocking, trying to get in the room, and you're not opening the door. Why? Why are you taking so long to open the door? You need help. You need help. Open the door. Let everyone in to help. Why are you stalling? So
Wow.
just these are things that every interview when I was in my quiet times before, and held everything in, and I would just watch the documentaries, and I would say to myself, that's not true. That's not the whole story, And then people around me were like, Nicole, say something, say something. But I couldn't at the time because I was in school. I was young. I was still getting my life together. But it's something that never left me. And I promised myself before I die, everyone's gonna know. Everyone needs to know. It's only fair.
Right.
I
Wow.
feel like she took too long to call. I mean, she waited long. She says it in the documentary. She waited
Yeah.
for the. She
She
didn't want to
waited.
call right away. People that was
Wait
in
for him to
it.
die. Wait for him to die. She wants, make sure that he's officially dead before making any move. And the funny thing is that a lot of people felt this way, but no one says it, to her. People say behind the scenes through conversation to one another, like, I feel the same way, and I didn't know you felt that way. I felt that way too, and like,
Wow.
speak up. But I'm definitely speaking up, and I'm not gonna stop.
Well, it's a huge claim when you think about it and when you hear it. But when you go back to the ending of that documentary, she states that Big Pun's death was one of the saddest days, but also one of the best days of her life because she was able to move forward with her life.
What? You know what I mean? I totally remember what that was said, and I mean, come on.
I mean,
I was married once before. I couldn't stand him, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
wish that on him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want some, I wouldn't. Just do it the right way. You do it the right way. You go to court, you get a divorce, you separate, and you move on. That's the way, it should be done.
I mean, if
So
at least she was cheating, then I don't see why would she be scared to leave him.
she wasn't. I mean, I'll say it again. If you're that scared of your partner, the last thing you're gonna do is do anything to upset them. Anything to upset them. Anything that's gonna provoke them. You're gonna go to your same house, and your husband could trick you and end up coming home early because you might think that he's on a tour and he actually was testing you and might come back in the house. Come on, like this is ridiculous. I understand they did have issues. Yes, my brother put his hands on her. Yes, that is true. But you need to understand too that I mentioned it's not right for any man to hit a woman.
Right.
It's also not right for a woman to act during the normal day-to-day routine, act like they're a man.
Right.
It confront. You know, I don't know if you ever saw a situation where the woman gets an altercation with her man, and she gets all swollen and like, yeah, you know, I'll do this to you, whatever, and then he knocks the shit out of her because she's coming at him like she's a dude. You're not feminine. It's not like you know, you're very feminine and fragile and petite. You come off like a dude yourself. You know what I mean? But regardless, no one should put their hands on one another at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Because again, that was one video.
Right. You mentioned that you guys were almost like sisters, and you know.
Yeah, but I never.
Right. At what point did it go left? Because I too watched the first documentary that came out many years ago, and Liza stated that on the day they got married, she was 17 years old, and her dad had to sign some documents, you know, to let the marriage go forth. But she mentioned that no one was there other than your mom and her dad as witnesses.
Yeah, well,
so, was there a problem then? Was it because of her age? Was it? And I also seen that Pun had came into some lawsuit money that was, you know, given to him from a previous accident as a child. Yeah. Was it? Did you guys have an issue with her then, or you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to get to the root of where you guys went, where everything just went left.
Yeah, what the time that you're speaking about, I was very young. I was like 10. Okay. My mother was actually at a rehab. She was getting clean because she was, you know, proud of her. She
wasn't at the wedding.
No, I'll call her right now. She's upstairs.
No. I'm just going. You know what I mean? I'm just. I did a crash course today.
Yeah.
Just,
no, you know, she was at Good Samaritan Village. It was a rehab upstate New York, and she was there. And I actually was in the foster care system, and same with my grandmother in Miami. So that's why we weren't there. I was like 10, you know, my mother was in a rehab. So plus they got the money for the lawsuit, and they got excited and eloped, and everything was quick. So that's why there was nothing going on.
Okay, because the way her tone of using, you know what I mean, in that one little clip and segment she was speaking, it made it seem as if we had nobody, you know what I mean? We didn't have nobody to invite, nobody wanted her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to know, was there issue then?
Yeah. No, my mother was in a rehab. I was in foster care. Yeah, and I was young, and he got the money and everything. Moved things quick and got married fast. I'm sure that was my brother's idea because he adored her and he loved her to death. And you know that's why that happened.
So what point did it go left for you when you know you just started looking at her with the side eye?
Well, when I started having feelings, my feelings started changing for her. You know, was I would say like around 98, around the time that she admitted, you know, cheating. You know, because like a disappointment. It's kind of like, you know, like, oh come on, you know, and it just like never really got right there. But we still got along. But inside you're like disappointed in the person, you know. But what really did it was that the death.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's so valid. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's sad because you know you have my niece and nephews, and they don't know. They only know her side. They only know that part, and it's not fair because they did have a father, and their father, which is my brother, never did nothing to those kids. He adored those kids. Right. He didn't. That's one thing he could never say. None of them could ever say he never did anything to them physically, nothing like that. Okay.
Well, Lincoln Fat Joe admits that as well. They admit he was a great father. So we. You know.
No, he was a great father. He was overprotective, a little ridiculous, you know, with the boxing and stuff like that. But I mentioned before, he did the same thing to me. He used to box me up, make me just to make me tough. You know what I mean? So he was preparing his kids.
And I mean,
none of them reach out to anyone, not just you, but anyone on your side of the family. Like, is there no relationships at all? Like, they're all adults now, I suppose. You know what I mean? So there's no communication.
Yeah. Well, they were adults now that were raised by their mother.
Wow. So
they're adults that were, so they were. So yeah, I remember one time. Well, this is when this first all happened. first it was like, I don't want you effing with my kids. You know, it was one of those things like, I want you to, don't mess with me, don't mess with my kids. Then a couple of years passed, and the kids now were like, baby Chris was like maybe like 7 now, and they were like 2 years older. And I remember I was living in Orlando, and I reached out to her and I said, Liza, this is Nikki. You know, do the kids need sneakers, anything like that for, you know, for school? My kids don't need shit. There's nothing my kids need, and you know, real cocky. And I'm like, okay. And so then another time, I tried one more time. I was like, Liza, you know, is there anything that the kids need? My kids don't need nothing. My kids don't need nothing, like all nasty. So it got to the point that I kept getting rejected, that I just stopped offering, because I'm like, every time I call, she gets like that.
But
And
she
then
was working at the shelter at one point.
well, that's the other thing with the shelter. In reality, the shelter was one of those things where how can I look like I'm really suffering? How can I look like I'm really, really struggling? Like, how can I look like, you know, like Joe's putting me through this? I'm going into a shelter. The truth is, come on, her mother been in the same house in Bronx River with plenty of space all this time. Your mother is a beautiful lady. She's a sweet lady, Isabel. She would have took her in. So it's not like you know, you had no one, the doors were closed in your face from even your own family. That wasn't the case, because your family is not like that, Liza. You know, it's not, you know? So it was one of those things like, how can I look very poor? How can I look like I'm suffering? How can I look like I'm a really battered woman, you know, and just paint that picture? I'm gonna go to the shelter, you know, and it worked, and it worked for a lot. Especially works for people who's been in the shelter. I've been in the shelter, you know what I mean, 3 times in my life. You know, but that's what I can say, that she had many places to go on in her family. When it came to myself, remember, she didn't want to talk to me, so the last thing she's gonna want to do is live with me, you know. I would have been more than happy, because I'm very grown and I could put things to the side like that. You know, I'm old school. We're the type that we could beat the crap out of each other on Friday, and then Saturday we play cards, you know. That's just how, you know, I am. But that wasn't the case. So the truth is, you know, that was something that was a choice. She chose to go to shelter because it was going to make her situation look bad. Make it look like she's really suffering, and make Joe look even worse. You know what I mean? And I said to myself, why nobody sees this? Nobody can tell this. I don't understand.
I mean,
you know,
we didn't have someone like you come to the forefront, you know what I mean, way back then, you know?
Yeah. Everybody was scared because she has this persona, like, you know, like Tom girl.
Right.
And it might intimidate people, like, oh no, I don't want to say nothing because she might do something, you know what I mean? But I come from the same cloth, so I have no problem. You know what I mean? I come from the same cloth, so I have no problem doing so.
Hey,
and that's why.
Sure.
Huh?
You remind me of a female pun for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
but I'm feminine.
Yeah, feminine version, word. Like,
yeah.
That's dope.
But, you know,
it's
yeah.
like we have a part of him here with us. You know what I'm saying? And it's good to bring closure, especially for somebody like Play. He deserves it, and it just makes sense to me when we're speaking about the financial status of life.
Hold on, I want you to touch that, but just give me. I just want something that I want to that I'm passionate about, and I want to share.
Okay.
I'm one of those people. I'm very open-minded, and I don't take sides. I look at the fairness of things. So, although it is wrong for any man or any woman to hit their partner or put their hands on anyone, I feel, especially I'm in the field of research, in the medical field of research, people need to get to the root cause of what makes these abusers. Let's not only help the victim, help the abuser too, because there's something that they're dealing with. So I think definitely there might be something I push for. It's getting help for the victim and the abuser.
Right.
And you need to stop the cycle on both ends. You know what I mean? You need to end it from both ends. So that's something that I strongly feel about, because I know from my brother and I have been through a lot. That's why I repeatedly say this. If ever a film wanted to be made the film, unless you involve me, because I'm the only one raised with him. It was only me, my mother, my brother, and my mother. The only story that, let's say, if Liza come out with a movie, she could tell is from her relationship to this death, which is her version of the death.
Right.
Okay. Real quick, we talked about the autopsy. I didn't even get to finish that. I have the autopsy, and I told you guys to do research on your own and see how long it takes to do a complete full one, which will take weeks to months, compared to just an immediate one that takes 24 hours. My brother had the immediate one. He didn't have the full, complete one because he was cremated. They never was able to do a full, complete one that would have told everything.
Right.
They did the quick basic one. So there's a lot of stuff that was left out. So his autopsy is complete in the standpoint of a basic assessment, but not a full analytical assessment, which would have took weeks to months to do. So that's what tells me maybe that was the rush for the cremation.
And could have revealed if asphyxiation was part of the problem, because you could suffocate somebody with a pillow and you know they'll die. So
no, somebody's hit me up now, 947. No, I've never seen my brother's ashes. I actually asked her a few days ago, can I have some from myself, my mother? She never replied. I've never seen my brother's ashes.
Wow. Do you think she got rid of the ashes, sold the ashes? I don't know, like, because I wouldn't see why she wouldn't want to give you and the family at least some of the ashes. I can understand her wanting to keep some too, but at least some, like.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying this. I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if I were to later find out and I get them and they're dirt from the ground. It would be, and I'm tricked. You know what I mean? So again, all I ask is that a lie detector test is done, and I am willing to do one for every single subject that I touched today, verbatim, and pay for each one of them.
Right.
Each one of them.
Wow.
Well, you know, you said that she was in a shelter and she blew the money that Fat Joe had given her after Pun's death.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So my brother passes away. Joe hits her off with dough. Okay, she does hair very, very good. Could open up a beauty parlor, could have done something like that. But what she ended up doing, she ended up clubbing, popping bottles. You know, she actually went to the club and took my brother's urn and put it on the stage of the club.
Wow.
Like really? You really? You brought the urn all the way to the club and put it on the cut. That's very tacky.
That's reckless.
That's tacky.
Wow.
And anyone who enjoyed that, you're tacky too, because wow, that's a man sitting in an urn and you guys are partying, popping bottles around it. That's crazy. So because
yes, definitely.
yeah. So since you popping bottle, everything, the money went fast, and then it happened. I'm broke again. So now I need more. But you know, the issue was that Joe never gave her anything, and then my clarification was that he did give her before. So that was the argument. It's not about how much he gave her before. What she was saying was that he never gave her anything.
Right.
No, yes, he did. Yes, he did.
It was claimed that he gave her about $1 million after the death.
Yeah. But initially, her argument was that she didn't get anything. So the initial, the first at the beginning, and she had did at that point. I think it was like $250,000 around that. The first time, and then the next one that you just mentioned. You know, so
I mean,
wow.
You know, I would have done so much. I would have done so much with that.
Right.
Yeah,
that just speaks on why he didn't give more, because he seen she didn't do nothing productive with it the first go round.
Yeah, and not only that, but also they, you know, they were feeling the same way that she did something to Chris too. So you kind of have that feeling like, yeah, I'm giving her money, and I think she's the one that has something to do with Chris dying. You know what I mean? But a lot were not saying nothing because they don't want to hurt the kids' feelings and, you know, things like that, because the outcome's going to be like mine. Don't mess with this person.